The Honorable Kay McConney, Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw, Chief Education Officer, Dr. Alison Leacock, Director of the National Transformation Initiative, Mrs. Chanel Waith, I'm instructed to say newly appointed Deputy Principal of the Lodge School, Mr. Fernando Carter, Senior Education Officer and other ministry personnel, Mr. Neil Sorrendo, NTI Creator and other NTI personnel present, principals, reviewers, students, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Well, that was a rousing one. My name is Raphael Saul. I'm honored to serve as the Assistant Director of the National Transformation Initiative, and also this afternoon I have the pleasure of being your Master of Ceremonies. For this, the launch of Star Adventures, the Civics and Citizenship e-learning game in partnership between the National Transformation Initiative and the Ministry of Education, Technological and Vocational Training. A marriage, if you were, a blend between the curriculum of the ministry's civics program and the NTI's citizenship course. So to give the official welcome and set the broad context around this partnership and program, I'm pleased to invite the Director of the NTI, Dr. Alison Leacock.
Thank you very much, Raphael. Honorable Kay McConney and other distinguished guests at the head table, friends all, supporters of innovation in education. That is what I've decided to call all of us in this room. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to welcome you all to what we see as a signal moment in the transformation of our educational landscape in Barbados. Perhaps I should go through a chronology of events and begin at the genesis of the idea of the Honorable Mia Motley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, who threw a challenge out to us at the NTI, having done our citizenship course, and our creator of that, Donna Redmond, is sitting in the corner, and appealed to us to animate it, make it compelling and absolutely irresistible for primary schools. And my response was, well, gamification is the way to go. The rest is history. The minister led her team. The chief was ready and raring to go. And she gave us a gem representing the ministry to work with us to ensure that we could get this to happen. We forged a very fruitful partnership with the ministry, blending, as Raphael said, a relatively new civics curriculum that had been done by the ministry. So instead of trying to bring coals to Newcastle, one young lady painstakingly went through both the citizenship course as well as that curriculum, and found where there was a nexus, a natural nexus, for us to create this wonderful game. It was and is the first phase of a major exercise. Those of you who have done the citizenship course, I'm not going to embarrass by asking you to raise your hands if you have, but those of you who have done it know that there are 5 modules, and the most recent module has been updated to reflect where we are as Barbadians becoming a republic. Of course, we couldn't get all of that into this initial offering, but we are confident, based on the feedback that we've had, that this is the beginning of a sustained phase for the course and the game for the primary schools. So following our initial meeting with the ministry, that was in February of this year, there were 2 individuals who were truly stellar in their commitment. They joined me every Tuesday for 2 hours between February and up to yesterday, 64 hours in all, to meet the impossible deadline of this September term. I assure you, it was impossible. I think the young man beside me is barely sitting. His eyes are barely open in order for us to have made this deadline. But we also felt passionately that it was the time was now, and we absolutely had to make it happen. So the newly appointed deputy principal is really an exemplar of an outstanding public servant. I have worked in 2 statutory corporations, and I have had close relationships with all the ministries in Barbados. She is as good as they come. And I want to publicly salute Chanel Waith for her outstanding work. Chanel really was unflappable. She stayed the course. She gave feedback. She was always present and interested and engaged in the entire process. So I thought, well, she couldn't be matched, but she was. She was matched by one Neil Sorrento, who was painstaking in ensuring that he understood the assignment at every inch of its development. Full disclosure, I had no surprise about that because I had had one meeting with this young man back in 2020, 2019, and articulated the vision for NTI and our Star Bajan concept, which is both a principal and a person: select, train, assess, review, and recognize, which is why it's 2 R's. And he came up with a magnificent animation. That told me that he listened with his head, his heart, and his hands. And he created this wonderful video. So when we were thrown the challenge, this was the young man I thought of immediately, that he would be able to deliver it. And that he has done. As I said, not with much sleep, but he has done it. And he has done it with a group of Barbadian creatives who've also made us proud and underscore the value, not just of partnerships like the partnership we have with the ministry, but the value of our creatives as a centerpiece of our conscience as a society, not just as entertainment, because these creatives made all of this possible. The entire team of his programmers, designers, and the game, appropriately, his name is The Empire, that's the name of his company. And joining him in very short order to capture the essence of his vision and our vision for the game, Dr. Nicholas Branker, who created every second of the soundtrack you will hear on this game. Myriad moods, the magic of our indigenous music, beautifully done by, well, one of our star agents, Dr. Nicholas Branker. So my final words of welcome, forgive me for giving a special welcome to this stellar young man who was part of our focus groups. We ensured that we really had the beta testing with as many people as we could to ensure that this was not something that appeared in September in the school term, but that we had the inputs and the feedback from those who matter. So participating in the focus groups, we had a group of very eager, articulate, and fearless young people, 8 to 11 years old, and they told us what they loved and what they wanted, and they couldn't wait to get back to the game. That told me we had scored the jackpot. So thank you very much, and I think he deserves a special round of applause. Yes. Thank you so much. And he has not forgotten anything. He was asking me questions when he came in this afternoon. So we can look forward to seeing him. Maybe the next time he'll be the Prime Minister giving the feature address. I suspect he's one of those. To all the teachers as well who made their input, to the parents who sat in, some peeped in and had a little observation of the game, to representatives from the Eardiston Teachers Training College, the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, the president herself, Marianne Redmond, and the Barbados Union of Teachers. All of your inputs are and will continue to be invaluable to us, and they were so critical to us achieving our goals of being here today. We see this at the NTI as a tangible manifestation of all of the steps that we have been charged in our mandate to transform our educational system, to transform us as Barbadians, to have us see education in a completely different light, and to underscore the absolute joy of learning using the game as fun for this primary school cohort of class 1, I think, this year. So the inclusion, the fusion of civics and citizenship tells us that there is nothing better than a small team of committed people who believe in the vision and the mandate and what can be achieved. So we look forward to you staying with us as we continue this journey, and we welcome you to experience what we know is going to be an unforgettable afternoon, thanks to Neil and his team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Alison Leacock, Director of the National Transformation Initiative. As she mentioned, the task of building every Barbadian into a Starbajan does require an all-of-society approach. It is also, for us at the NTI, something we're very passionate about, making sure that we recognize and embrace that everyone learns differently, sees the world differently, and ought to have the opportunity to engage in this meaningful content in exciting and fun ways. So the video she mentioned earlier, I'm going to invite all of our attendees here just to turn their attention to the screen. We're going to view that video, that animation that Neil designed. And it really is a beautiful segue, I think, into all we're going to explore today.
On the world map, Barbados is simply a speck in the Atlantic Ocean and a slightly larger speck in the Caribbean island. Unmatched like the proverbial mustard seed, as small as it is, its history, its people is truly robust and full of wonder. It's time to leer into the future. Behold! Oh, Jimmy!
Timmy.
The future is bright.
Too bright, sir. I can't see it.
Many people can't see, but oh,
The light, sir. My eyes. It really does burn.
but here you go, boys. The future is digital. We are working on a plan to upgrade our most valuable assets. But do you know what that is, boy?
The people, sir.
Silly boy, no. It's the people that's our assets.
But
We want our people to be more confident, more conscious in their actions. Encourage creativity. Become a more community-minded citizen. We create prosperity as a nation. We have a vision of equipping every Barbadian with knowledge, skills, and values for this ever-growing digital world. With this triangle of operations, it will create a powerful identity, which leads to better choices. Good choices lead to better relationships, which empowers the identity. It's all good things. I call it the circle of thrive.
I thought we were talking about triangles.
The circle of thrive indeed. Here's upon it with splendor and glory, boy. The star vision. A being of excellence and integrity. A solution-oriented, digitally literate masterpiece.
Wow, what are they doing there?
We call them chercheurs. It's as the French would call it.
You mean teachers, sir?
They're working diligently on the most vital parts of our people. The head, the heart, and the hand.
Sir?
The head is where you think. Based on what you know and understand, you make either good or bad choices. We encourage the good ones. The heart, once it is full of love, it lets us connect better as a people. And maybe we can appreciate and respect each other more and feel like we actually belong. Great things happen when people love each other.
And the hands?
That is where we create, boy. We build. We contribute. A way to lead.
Me, sir?
Way forward is for each of us to help to shape this star vision. Like what I'm doing with you. Despite COVID-19's effect on our beautiful island, we will bounce back.
The future is bright, sir.
That it is, Jimmy.
Timmy.
That it is. A star vision. Will you be our star? Now then, who this message is from, boy?
This message is brought to you by the National Transformation Initiative.
I didn't even have to ask. A rousing round of applause. And what you just saw is just the seed of what has now blossomed into an amazing experience. That video does remind me, though, Neil, of the old people in the community who never call you by your right name.
Yes.
But whatever name they call you by, you better answer it. I'm pleased to introduce now, to discuss the process of this partnership, the Deputy Principal of the Lodge School, Miss Chanel Wave.
Thank you. I'm still trying to get used to this title. This is really a bittersweet moment for me. From February, working with this process, I think you could hear it in my voice already. There is such a commitment that this trio had to this project. And when you look at each of us, we will talk about the other. That's a real kind of partnership. So the way in which Dr. Leacock spoke about me, I would speak about her, because she was the individual who gently drove us to ensure that the task was completed. She said an impossible deadline, and it was. But her motivational words, each meeting, that kept us going. She understands what it is to lead so that we reach the goal. She understands what it is to truly exemplify a star Bajan. And I would not say anything less about Neil as well. In fact, the fact that Neil is sitting here, that certainly is credit to the work that he put in. I am dispelling with my speech as it is written here, because just from my heart, I want to talk to you about this process. And with Neil, all of us were eager to begin to start. We were excited. But when I looked at Neil in the latter stages, you started to see some wear and tear, and you knew that he was burning that midnight oil. You knew that Neil was working behind the scenes to ensure that we could all be here for this launch. I remember in February when we began, that the video that you just saw, that was presented to the Ministry of Education. And my chief and I, the team at the ministry, we were all excited about the prospects, the possibilities that would come with this game. And definitely when you think about those possibilities, possibilities for our teachers, possibilities for our children, possibilities for Dominic Gaskin. That is what kept this team going. We recognize that the transformation that has to happen in this education system can begin with something as simple as this game. I look forward to hearing the teachers using it within the classroom. I look forward to the many students who will benefit from this game. We started out brainstorming. We started out with lofty plans, trust me. That is what good people, that's what they do. We were big thinkers when it came to this project. So when I had to do the curriculum matching, which is part of the first step, I was doing it because I could see that the next stage, the concept design, I wanted to get there so that we could start to see what this game would look like. And I did spend some time thinking about the content, which content would we use? When I think about what aspects teachers would want to start with, should we do government? Should we do those topics that people consider maybe a bit dry with students? And so we had all of these conversations as it relates to how we could best engage our students. So several of our meetings were about brainstorming. And I think in those stages, perhaps we did not recognize, at least I did not, the really hard work that had to be put in to make this possible. So I started to see mock-ups from time to time, play the game from time to time. Dr. Leacock played the game as well, and she tried her best. She tried her best, really, as she played the game. We reviewed everything. She spoke about my participation, my I'm looking for the word, what I did in terms of the review. But meticulous is Dr. Leacock. So I am thankful that in terms of the internal review process, that she was there, because there were things that she asked about, things that she picked upon. And I said, I didn't even think about it. So we moved from that internal review. And as you heard, we had to go to our teachers. We had to go to the individuals who would actually be playing the game. And I think what kept the fire burning for me was those focus group feedback sessions. In those sessions, I was confident, right, Neil? I was very confident that you would hear nothing but favorable remarks. So even when Neil needed to be reminded that what he created was an exceptional game, world class. I tell you, you can put this against any educational game that there is now. I would know, because my 3-year-old and 6-year-olds, when they play this game, I can see them using this and being excited to play it. So in those reviews, we heard, as I said, favorable comments, and I'm sure that Mr. Terry Applebait could bail me out on that, right? Right, Mr. Applebait? Favorable comments. We involved, as you heard, the teachers' unions. They were so important to us. So even when a session was missed with one of the unions, we made sure to make it up, because they are critical to this process. We had, obviously, teachers reviewing it, scrutinizing the content to make sure that this is what they would want within the classroom. We also had, from Erdeston Teachers Training College, Dr. Sonia St. Hill, who is an expert in social studies. And she was able as well to lend that lens in terms of what is it that teachers would really want in terms of a resource. And positive comments all around. We look at this as phase 1 because there are some comments in terms of feedback that we know we have to take and improve on the game. So in another iteration, we will see the feedback from the teachers, from the children who reviewed it. I don't know how I could leave such a team. And it is my hope, I know it is definitely beyond a hope now for Dr. Leacock, that we will work again. Yes. Even at the school where I am assigned, I heard of this work because, interestingly enough, the voice of one of the characters is my principal's voice. So we were able to speak, Neil, about you, about your awesome work yet again. And certainly it seems to me that this synergy here that we have created will it will not be broken. And we are willing to pull in other individuals. I did not recognize that my principal could be pulled in. So I am thankful as well that I am assigned there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chanel, Miss Chanel Waith, the Deputy Principal of the Lodge School. Getting very comfortable with that title now.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want to highlight just before I introduce Neil formally is that very often I've seen when there are initiatives or projects like these, the initial inclination is to farm these projects out to large agencies coming out of Europe and North America and beyond, where we feel there are already template systems that we can easily plug into, and they can produce something for us that we can go to market with very easily. What those systems can often lack, though, is the native feel, sense, and knowledge that makes this program not just something that is good for children, but something that feels like it's connected to the heartbeat of what Barbados is, what it sounds like, what it feels like, and from the music in the background, as you heard, to all of the design. I am pleased now to welcome the third musketeer, because you heard from you heard from Dr. Leacock, you heard from Mrs. Waith, and you've heard them speak in very glowing terms about the real man with the mastery behind the program. So I am pleased to welcome now to give us a bit of insight into the creative journey of Star Adventures. And also, I'm sure we're all waiting with bated breath to see him click start under Star Adventures down there. And let's see what it's really like. So please, with a round of applause, help me welcome Mr. Neil Surrender. I should say a star baby.
Yes.
Good afternoon, all.
Good afternoon.
I appreciate the kind and powerful words that have been expressed today. I can't match it. So let's get that out of the way. I have something here in which will be the formalities, and I will go through them, and then I will talk from the heart. Firstly, it has been an honor to be awarded the opportunity to work on this project. I am appreciative of the National Transformation Initiative, mainly Dr. Leacock, and the Ministry of Education for trusting me with their vision. The creative process for this enterprise has been extremely extensive, and it is a truly crucial aspect of this project that I wish to enlighten you on. Conceptualization and script development. That takes time. Creating a sturdy foundation on which to incorporate learning directives was not a simple or easy task. Creative imagination, along with research into the modern learning preferences for the demographic, has yielded what are being introduced to you today. It was imperative for me to merge the specific learning directives given along with an enjoyable experience best suited for the target audience, children between 8 and 11. The production aspect, this is the heartbeat of this endeavor, and without the various roles involved, this would never have been possible and needs to be fully understood and acknowledged. The production process consists of programming and engineering, character design, location and background design, storyboarding, animation, game icon and editable assets, user interface design, voice talent, music, sound engineering, to name a few. To name a few. Each of these on their own have their specific list of extensive and tedious processes. All the production processes mentioned are intimately intertwined and all depend on each other to work seamlessly. This and many more factors have prime influence on the quality of the final product. If the script is not great, the rest of production will not be great. If the script is great and the voice actors aren't, the whole production will fall. And if everybody is great, but the cameraman does not know what he's doing, the whole production will fall. It must work together. As we all know, time is an essential ingredient to the creation and production of anything. And the deadline for this has been a topic of discussion. However, my team and I forged ahead to attempt to create something novel and imaginative, and we are proud of what we have been able to accomplish so far. Creating and executing something to this magnitude has not gone beyond me, and it should not for all who are involved. For everyone's general knowledge, it takes an average of 1 to 4 years to build and test a game such as this one. 1 to 4 years. So every game that you see, every movie that you see 4 years before it has been initiated. Right. So I hope that we can all appreciate and comprehend the scope of what has been achieved here. My team and I have gone beyond what we imagined we could do. We have created a unique foundation for future projects. We want this product to have a full positive impact on the students as well as the teachers. This game, with the support of the parties involved, has the capacity to reach its full potential into streamlining the evolution of education in Barbados. Thus ends the formalities. This project was nothing before February. It was nothing. And many people do not get to really experience the creative process, and it is a form of magic. You create something that has never existed before. You use a whole set of movements and rituals. You need a whole host of ingredients and parties to do so. And in this work together, Dr. Leacock at the helm, my co-captain at the side, Miss Waith, we started to create something out of nothing. They helped me to shape the script. And every production that you see starts with the script. They start initially with an idea and an outline, but the script is the blueprint. Without the script, the rest of the production cannot work because it is from the script that everything is built from. When characters are created in the script, persons can then go out and start to build the identities of these characters. These places that are mentioned in scripts can then be built upon because there is a foundation there. That foundation could not have been built without Miss Waith's work. She did an exceptional job at providing me with what was needed and rifled through the stuff that may not have been necessary at this point in time to be able to give me all of the ingredients I needed to be able to create what we're going to see here. The foundation, as we know, if it were a house, could not be built out of sand or rocks alone, but with other ingredients as well. What you will see today is what it looks like when people don't get to sleep. And what working almost 24 hours a day looks like. My family can attest. Those close to me can attest that this has been nothing but the topic of discussion for the last several months. So, what I am going to show you is not only my work, it is a teamwork. It could not have been done by just me, and it was not done by just me. I worked with masters of the craft, and we have masters of crafts in our island that will surprise you. This is a masterpiece in its works. What I will show you first will be a nice presentation of everything, and then we'll look at how it is online. So please enjoy.
Shine bright. Be a star pageant. Select your path. Start by learning what excites you. Every day is a chance to improve and learn. Ah, yes. You joined us just in time. I'm about to show Jimmy here.
It's Timmy, sir.
Let's look at about this beautiful place we call home. Barbados. You may call me Ezekiel. The boy here will continue to call me Sir. The details of an island such as ours are also made of parishes of various sizes. Our island is divided into 11 of these parishes. Do you know what a parish is? But can you name the parishes?
I'm trying to remember some places that are in my neighborhood. I think there is a farm. Right, it's a farm, and I know there is a church on the main road. Right, this is what my neighborhood looks like. no one really goes in there.
That sounds like a village that is near the woods. One of God's great works, full of mysterious mysteries.
Did you see that, sir?
I did.
Why are we up here, sir?
Why indeed? You're about to go on a unique adventure.
I am?
We are the breath of this island, and the island is our bed. We share her name. We are the bearded ones. We are Barbados. Be still and listen.
Cheese on bread. Macaroni pie. Flying fish. Flying fish. Time to fly. Ah!
Such a brave boy. Well, I certainly couldn't do that. Fly on, Jimmy. Fly on.
This is my mental breaks. Yes.
Hey!
Time to go, Crappo! Off to it!
It's collecting stars.
That doesn't belong to you!
So, I see we're all looking for the same things, aren't we? Little man. I hope your pet cat knows where she stands.
Did he just call me your pet? You, sir, are taking things that are not yours. That's stealing.
Oh? Well then, how about a trade? Do you know what this is, boy?
What's up, youngster? Woods are natural features that are a part of our environment.
Good day. My name is Officer Brathwaite. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Timmy.
Good stuff. How may I help you?
Well, Mom, I would like to make a report.
Oh, what kind of report?
A theft.
Okay. What was stolen?
A spaceship.
Did you just say a spaceship? I would like for you to get some sort of evidence of this crime or something that can be more helpful.
You can't kill him. Serious. They're smoking a pipe.
As you can see with the game, we've been given a very challenging task of turning civics and citizenship into something fun. Somehow we did it. We found that what we were trying to do was to put in some educational games where there's actual information in which they would have to use both in the game and in class. So they're taking their knowledge from in class and bringing it into the game that will help them move forward, and vice versa. The addition to that is that we give as many different points that can be expanded upon in class as well. And we've worked our best to provide as much information that we can, rather than it just being strictly about civics and citizenship. As far as the curriculum is concerned, civics and citizenship has a lot to do with people and persons' experiences in Barbados. So we tried our best to add various experiences that take place within the island. As you would have seen, the underwater scene takes place, if you don't know, in Carlisle Bay by the shipwrecks. We did a lot of research. We spent a lot of time looking into ways in which we can put home into a game. And we've done our best to weave the educational parts into the entertainment parts within a story. Children learn whatever game they play. They learn the information in that game. And a lot of that information may not be useful outside of the game, but they learn the information either way. It is how a lot of us learn, whether we admit it or not. We all play games, whatever level, and all of those games we learn stuff from. So we've done our best to weave the education and weave the information into a story along with educational games and what I've learned as a term, brain breaks. Breaks away from the education stuff for just entertainment purposes, just to get a break, and then you go back into the game, and all of it is part of the story. So I could not have done this by myself, and I did not do this by myself, so I will not take the credit for it for myself. Thank you.
I don't know if many of you were as excited as I was watching that video. It took me back to some days of playing games, and I thought, imagine how engaging and how fun learning can be for our children now, when we can create environments like these for them to be completely immersed and entertained and intrigued and excited and exposed to new concepts and ideas, all along a fun and engaging story that keeps them plugged in. Another round of applause, please, for Neil and his team and the amazing work that they've done. I now invite the Honorable Kay McConney, Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, to deliver our keynote address.
Thank you very much. This was a labor of love. It is obvious from what we have heard from Neil Sereno, what we have heard from Chanel Waith, what we have heard from Dr. Leacock, truly a labor of love for the children of this country. And on behalf of our Prime Minister, who has been a driver in making this happen, and on behalf of our government as a whole and the children of this country, I want to say thank you. Thank you. You know, today I think we're launching what we can call Operation Enjoy Learning. Yes. Where we want the learning journey through the basic education system from pre-primary to secondary to truly be a journey that our learners can enjoy and not just endure. The gamified version of this civics and citizenship curriculum for class 1, it really is part of what we want to do when we talk about education transformation. It is not simply tweaking the system to transform what the system will do, but it is being transformative in the lives of the students and of the teachers alike. The partnership that you have seen here between the Ministry of Education and the National Transformation Initiative, this is what government looks like when we break the silos down and decide that we are going to come together as one and share our resources, share our knowledge, and put it to use for the people of this country. You know, when we speak of gamification, what that means is that we are turning whatever task or activity into a game. And many of us will talk about the fact that our children are always on their phones and they're always on their tablets and they're always playing games. And in fact, many of those games are educational games. And we can fight against the trend, or we can choose to embrace that trend and use it to help our children to learn. And you know, it isn't just having fun for fun's sake or for education's sake. The research out there is telling us, in fact, it is research that comes from the Smithsonian Science Center. Their data, it shows that game-based learning could improve children's knowledge retention by up to 90% compared to traditional ways of learning. And so what we are doing here in transforming the way in which we deliver to our children is not because we just want them to have fun, but it is because the research supports what we are doing here. We are doing the best that we can. Now, last year in September of 2022, our Ministry of Education, we introduced the civics curriculum across primary and secondary schools. We launched it as a pilot in September 2022. Here we are in September 2023, just 1 year later, having evolved, having listened to the teachers, having listened to the students. And I'm here to say to you, we heard you. We heard you, the teachers, when you said that some aspects of the curriculum, like the government and governance aspects, that they were too abstract and that they were harder to get the students to comprehend and to get it. We heard you, students, when you said that the chalk and talk was boring and that you were being disengaged, and that for many of those of you who learned visually and by interacting with things, that you weren't getting the best out of the curriculum. We heard you, the education officers, who told us that the curriculum needed to come alive, both inside and outside of the classroom. Part of what this ministry will continue to do is to listen to our teachers and listen to our teachers and listen to our educators who are telling us we can do better by our children and improve their outcomes if we only adapt the way in which we deliver. This, you heard from others, is a world-class product. And I can attest to it myself, because this morning around 6 o'clock, I was calling Dr. Leacock because I was playing and having a grand time with the game. And I suggested to her ways in which we could even improve this game. I am telling you firsthand, this is a game worth playing. It has value. It delivers educational value. I remember that there were some of the questions that were asked as I was sticking my finger and trying to drag it, because I played the game on my cell phone. And you actually stick your finger and you drag and drop the answer into the area. And I was telling her that there were a couple I had to think a little bit longer on myself. And so even for us adults, even though this is a class 1 curriculum, there are things that we will also learn. This is 100% Bajan. Not only was the curriculum developed by our education officers and our teachers and our curriculum specialists from right here in Barbados, the images and the symbols are Barbadian. You will recognize locations in Barbados. You will recognize symbols to which we all can identify. The music, as you heard Dr. Leacock say, is by our very own Nicholas Branca, as Bajan as he is. You will notice that the narration and the accent are all Bajan. The language is Bajan. And we know that it is suitable for our Barbadian students, because we had Barbadian students vet it and we had teachers check it out to make sure that it is not just suitable for education, but that it aligns with our values as Barbadians. And when we send our children into that game, it is safe for them as well as good for their education. You know, I go back to teachers. During the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers said to us that one of their main concerns was that they needed more high quality, culturally relevant, and more modern teaching resources. They were forced in a very short period of time to go online, and they wanted materials that they could use both face-to-face and that they could also pivot in the event that we had to go online again. This particular civics citizenship game achieves just that. It achieves just that. And so again, we say to our teachers, we are valuing your input even as we go this journey for education transformation. I want to say a special thank you to Dr. Leacock. The Prime Minister pushed me, and I pushed her, and I pushed the Chief, and the Chief pushed Chanel. There was a whole lot of pushing going on. And what was an impossible deadline turned out to be the delivery today, that come academic school year 2023 September, we are launching with our teachers and our students the civics and citizenship game, gamification of education. Thank you. And in closing, all I want to say is that all of this is so that we can improve the outcomes for our students. That's what education transformation is about in one single sentence: improving outcomes. And we can improve our outcomes if we can excite children about learning, make them want to learn. If we can catch their interest and engage them long enough for them to get what the subject is about. We can improve outcomes when the approaches that our teachers use allow children to feel good about being taught, because those approaches capture the different ways in which children learn, and it respects the pace at which they learn. We can improve our outcomes if we are consistent in focusing on the needs of the child in the way we design our instruction. And it is focusing on those needs that will allow us to teach the child and not just teach the subject. This is what you did for us, Neil, in the work that you did. Because in my discussions with Dr. Leacock this morning, we were talking about, and this was her term, she said, that gotcha kind of learning that we do, where you try to give the child that question that will just stop them and they say, I gotcha. And that's the end of it. That cannot be the way that we continue to make learning and education accessible to all. We have to take a more enabling approach, where, like in this game, if you didn't get it right the first time, you can go back. You can try again. It's not about gotcha, but it is, I go till I get it. It respects that children will learn at a different pace. It respects that they will learn differently. And it builds their confidence rather than lowers their self-esteem in the way in which it allows them to win and to learn at this game. This is what curriculum reform and education transformation is all about. It is not just about how we tweak the content of the curriculum, but how we adapt in the ways in which we deliver it in a way that will be most beneficial, not only to those children who learn quickly and learn by rote or learn by you telling them, but by those children who also learn visually, who also learn kinesthetically, by those children who truly can learn at a different place and in their own way and learn nevertheless. This is how we create a bright future for every child within Barbados' education system. And I thank you all, for this is only the beginning. For Dr. Leacock and I, we were talking this morning about the other aspects of the curriculum that we now need to gamify in order to make it easier for us to be able to deliver in the way we can. I thank you so much, and congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, the Honorable Kay McConney, our Minister of Education, Technical and Vocational Training. Allow me, please, to break from the script just before I invite Dr. Arthur Bradshaw to move the vote of thanks. I think it would be remiss of us to not give the opportunity for the youngest member of our audience here this evening,
Yes.
who was one of those participating in our focus groups,
Yes.
and who contributed to creating the experience that we've all been able to see and enjoy. I'm going to break script. I'm going to remove the mic.
Yes. Yes.
So I hope that while it's streaming, you can follow. And I'm going to invite him to, I'm just going to say his name. And then all I want you to do is tell everyone what your experience was when you did the game.
Turn so the cameras can see you, darling.
Yes. What's your name first?
My name is Dominique Gaskin. I am very excited to be here. In a few years, I never thought I'd be with a group this big and people watching me. I was very nervous to do anything in front of people. So I'm glad I got this opportunity to clean my abilities. So about game, I think the game is very interactive. Like it gets you thinking, it gets you on your toes, it gets you focused. It helps you to remember because like when you're doing these things, you're practicing to get the best. You're having competitions with your friends on who can beat it the fastest. You're actually having fun while learning, which is my old teacher's tactic. But instead of making a game, she would throw a few jokes in at class. And I love it. Since we still have 6 hours at school, we also need to make sure children are learning in those 6 hours. So this game also comes with a similar approach on not just teaching kids stuff, but also having them have fun.
Yes.
The game was very optimistic. Everyone wanted to go back and try it again. There's not one single kid that I went to and asked about the game and didn't want to go back. It also kind of showed them to persist and not get upset when you get it wrong. Especially since we were doing it on a keypad, I couldn't drag the things to work. So it helped us to work as a group, learn to work as a team, strategize, put the best person forward, and even when you don't have the momentum, pick up mentally, lift your head, and keep going. The graphic designer, whoever it was, I can't quite remember, was amazing in this game. Perfect. Not one mistake. Not one small feature that I would have thought could have been done better.
Good.
It also opens the children to the language you may hear in the Barbados, the nature and agricultural you may see while in Barbados, and it prepares you to actually come out into the real world.
Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have anything to add. I don't think there could possibly be a better endorsement for the work that has been done in this program and the eloquence and confidence with which he communicated it. Blown away. Blown away. Dominic, you are a star beater.
Yes.
Certified.
I'm starting to feel you're the old man that calls everyone
Dominique.
Tell me correctly. Dominique.
I counted about 57 people call me Dominic to this day.
But it's Dominique.
Dominique.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dominique.
Yeah.
I am ecstatic that we took that segue from our planned program to hear from Dominique, whose experience I believe is truly valuable and captures the immeasurable worth of what we're trying to create here. I want to see many more Dominiques created through the work that the ministry, in partnership with the NTI and whatever other agencies may come alongside to create. I now then turn to Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw, our Chief Education Officer, who is charged with the responsibility of moving the board of thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saul. How can I follow Dominique? I don't know. In everything, we must give thanks. Moving from our initial conceptualization meeting in February to the implementation of an e-learning game in September is no small feat. It deserves the highest commendation. It is therefore with great pleasure that I move this vote of thanks. As Minister McConney shared, collaboration and cooperation are the future of a transformed education system and a successful Barbados. As such, this launch and the Civics and Citizenship game would not be possible without a team that had its head, its heart, and its hands in it. We express sincere gratitude to the Minister of Education, Technological and Vocational Training, the Honorable Kay McConney, who supported this initiative from its inception. Thank you, Minister, for your leadership and your commitment to this cause, which will redound undoubtedly to the heightened appreciation for civics and citizenship within the education community at all levels. Thank you to the Director of the National Transformation Initiative, Dr. Alison Leacock, and her team for helping the Ministry of Education to realize this vision. It was indeed a pleasure working with you, and we look forward to many more fruitful partnerships. And the minister told you about that already. Your work is cut out for you. A special thank you to my education officer, my former education officer, now Deputy Principal Chanel Wave, for your dedication to this project. We appreciated your very detailed reports. You were able at every juncture to give us a proper update with regard to where we were with this particular project. We also express thanks to Neil Sorrendo and his team, who worked tirelessly to produce this masterpiece. Thanks doesn't quite capture how we feel about what you have done. We are very indebted to you, and we know that each child and each teacher that plays this game will be provided with an opportunity to understand what it really means to be a Bajan. I want to segue a little bit. I remember seeing that ad on CBC about Jimmy/Timmy. And it touched me to the core. I realized then that promotional material was created by a Bajan for Bajans. And I want every single person who interacts with this game to understand that this game was created by a Bajan for Bajans. That means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to everybody in this room. You have served your country well. This game could not have gotten this far without the help of persons who were critical to the review process. I acknowledge Miss Marianne Redmond, who's the president of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, and Mr. Rudy Lovell, the president of the Barbados Union of Teachers. Also, Dr. Sonia St. Hill from the Erdiston Teachers Training College. We had teachers from our primary school review the game as well. Students, Mr. Dominique Gaskin and Miss Marshall, who isn't here today. We really appreciate the feedback that you've offered on the game. Thanks to Senior Education Officer Mr. Fernando Carter for organizing this launch. And we cannot forget our Media Resource Department, along with the other media representatives represented here. We appreciate your coverage of this launch and the fact that the ministry can have this opportunity to showcase the work that it is doing towards education transformation in Barbados. Penultimately, we place on record our gratitude to the Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Raphael Saul. I thank you very much for allowing these proceedings to move along so smoothly. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, in this space and online, we thank you very much for your support. We express our heartfelt thanks to you. And at this time, I wish you a blessed remainder of the week.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of our proceedings this afternoon. I join with the Chief Education Officer in wishing you all a wonderful evening, and please let the murmurs that go out throughout the island now be, where can I get the link to start playing the game? Do have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.